Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Pray for the Devil, which was originally supposed to come out a while ago, called The Devil's Light, but it's finally coming out in time for Halloween season here, and it's out in theaters from director Daniel Stamm, who did the last Exorcism, and you have Jacqueline Byers, who plays Sister Anne, who's a young woman who has a traumatic past. Her mother, she believes to be possessed, was abusive and wound up killing herself, and now she's a nun who meets this young girl who is very much possessed by the same entity that her mother was, and she wants to become an exorcist and be able to help. And that's basic crux of the story. You have some elements and themes and ideas about sexism that pop up because, like, this is unheard of. You can't have a woman being an exorcist. And you have Colin Salmon, who plays Father Quinn, who is like the mentor role in this film. He has a great presence, even though a lot of his duty is just to spout exposition and explain a lot of stuff to us. And that's one of the shortcomings of this script, is that there's so much clunky exposition to try to get across to us, and they don't perform it in interesting or different or meaningful kinds of ways. This is really just like, we're along for this ride, let's spell this all out for you. This does have more heart and soul than I expected it to have, and I appreciated that connecting to this film. I still don't think this is like the most depth that you're going to find from an exorcism film. I think the characters are fine. I do think Sister Anne's obviously has a lot more depth, but there's some other characters that are pretty sizable supporting cast that are just kind of like there. And even some of the specific performances from some of the supporting cast are not super strong, and you could definitely tell they're a little weak. Byers does a great job in her performance and is able to emote and really make us connect with her. And throughout this film, which, you know, this is like an hour and 33 minutes, this film's able to portray some basics of exorcism narratives and stuff like that. Obviously, it comes to like a big climactic ending, with like possession and twisted stuff and weird, like, demonic possession kinds of things. And where this film could have left you with a more happier ending, it, you know, falls into that trope of like, you expect this kind of ending for a horror film now. And I do feel like the film does lack in terms of its narrative, in terms of how it's freshening things up and keeping us interested and engaged. But I think the strong central performance and a few strong supporting performances help anchor this film that has some surprise twists and turns along the way that I didn't expect, and I think they're pretty solid and worked well. And in general, like, this journey of this woman trying to defy the odds, become an exorcist to protect those that she begins to grow a connection with, like this little girl that she meets in the this exorcism school. And there's some, like, from the horror elements, it is kind of scary at times. It does use a lot of tropes in terms of like setting up scares and stuff like that, but there's some inspired choices along the way too. I think Stamm does a nice job of mixing in those kinds of different elements, and it's not just the same thing, even though it does lean a little too heavily on things like dream sequences and stuff like that, which really don't have any concrete meaning in the actual story. But in the end, this is a not great, but potentially passable exorcism film. So if you're interested in, you know, these kinds of like demon possession things, this is probably going to have some elements for you. But besides that, those are my thoughts on Pray for the Devil. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.